Well, China's president has defended his push for peace in Ukraine on the eve of his controversial visit to Russia. Asia correspondent Brent O'Halloran joins us live from Taipei now. Brent, what has Xi Jinping had to say?
Well, Laura, a Russian newspaper or government gazette just published comments from Chinese President Xi Jinping. Those comments primarily focus on China's efforts to bring about a peace deal for Ukraine. In that piece, President Xi says China has always taken an objective and impartial position in relation to the situation in Ukraine, and China's proposal serves to neutralise the consequences of the crisis and promote a political settlement, saying that complex problems do not have simple solutions. Now, the 12-point plan Beijing released last month was criticised by the US for being too soft on Russia. The US claims China has not appropriately denounced Russian actions and has been supporting its invasion tacitly and even considering sending Moscow weapons. Now, China has denied this and claims it's the US who's the bad actor here by sending billions of dollars worth of weapons into the war zone and undermining peace efforts, Laura.
So there's no change to Xi Jinping's trip then, despite these International Criminal Court charges being laid against Putin?
Yeah, it doesn't appear so. President Xi is still scheduled to leave Beijing this evening for what's expected to be a 2 or 3 day visit. The trip was announced late Friday, and that arrest warrant was issued a day later. That that charge relates to the alleged unlawful deportation of children from Ukraine to Russia. Now, both leaders, Chinese leaders and Chinese leader and Russian leader, have stressed the importance of the China-Russia relations. President Putin, in an article over the weekend, described Xi as a good old friend, and in the past has described. There's obviously a lot of criticism and concern about the relationship between those two nations, seen as both flouting international conventions and for China effectively allowing Russia to skirt some of the sanctions imposed on it since the start of the Ukraine invasion. Some analysts say President Xi has more self-serving reasons behind this week's visit.
It'll be, I would say, a serious reputational blow to President Xi. Obviously meeting with someone who is now a pariah, effectively a criminal in the eyes of the civilized world. And of course, China still depends on its commercial relations with the West, especially Western Europe, where the court is located. But on the other hand, Xi is an ideological leader. And I suspect that in this case, the ideological affiliations and the alignments of his interests with those of Putin, that is distracting the West and keeping the West involved in a theater that's away from Taiwan, away from East Asia, might actually play better for Xi.
China certainly is ramping up its efforts in international diplomacy, recently securing a deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia to normalise ties. And this coming weekend, President Xi will host Brazil's president, who's also expressed a bit of concern over US and NATO's actions in Ukraine, Laura.
OK, Brent, thanks so much for that. Appreciate it.